You weren't born unlucky. You were trained to believe you were. Today, you'll discover how to reprogram your mind, raise your vibration, and activate an energy so powerful that what once seemed impossible becomes your new normal. Stay until the end, because you'll learn the exact ritual that can change your destiny. A lucky person isn't someone touched by chance. It's someone who has learned to recognize signs, align their inner energy, and move in sync with what others can't even perceive. Luck isn't a cosmic lottery. It's a consequence, and what causes it isn't out there. It starts within. Everything you call coincidence follows an invisible pattern, a kind of order that only activates when you're willing to listen without searching and act without hesitation. What seemed like randomness was actually waiting for you to notice it. But for that to happen, you must first break the programming that taught you luck belongs to others, because no one is born unlucky. We're conditioned to believe so. Since childhood, you've heard phrases that shaped your perception. That you must suffer to deserve, that success is for a chosen few, that the world is a jungle where only the strongest survive. Those ideas sink into your subconscious like viruses, and every time you doubt yourself, you reinforce that internal script. What you call destiny is nothing more than the unconscious repetition of what you were told to be. Transformation begins when you decide to rewrite that story, not with wishful thinking, but with actions that interrupt your old routine. Changing your vibration doesn't mean pretending to be happy or repeating empty affirmations. It means choosing thoughts that don't sabotage your path. It means holding such a strong conviction that your decisions naturally start to reflect it. True luck is born when intention meets action. It's not enough to visualize opportunities if you keep ignoring the signs. It's useless to say everything works in your favor while clinging to fear and control. The unseen responds to what you do when no one's watching, to how you react to the unexpected, to whether you trust that silent impulse pulling you toward the unknown. People who seem lucky actually live differently. Where others see obstacles, they see hidden paths. Where others feel doubt, they feel direction. They're not special. They're simply tuned in. They've cleared the noise, sharpened their perception, and learned to listen to what most people dismiss as irrelevant. When you understand this, you stop waiting for miracles. You become one. You don't need magic objects or ancient rituals if there's no real intention behind them. But when intention is real, any action, no matter how small, becomes a declaration of power. At that moment, luck stops happening to you and starts happening because of you. Luck becomes a natural consequence of an inner state that no longer accepts self-sabotage. It's the extension of your coherence, and coherence doesn't depend on circumstances, but on your ability to stay centered even when everything around you feels uncertain. Truly fortunate people aren't waiting for things to improve. They're creating the conditions for the unexpected to appear. Every act of gratitude, every decision that challenges your conditioning, every small gesture of authenticity, they all have a cumulative effect. They raise your frequency, train your focus, and break the cycle of repetition. What once seemed impossible starts happening not because the world changed, but because you did. What you used to overlook now becomes obvious. Where you once saw chaos, you now recognize signals. Some call this superstition. They say you can't influence reality with your mind. But psychology says otherwise. Studies show that people who consider themselves lucky aren't lucky by chance. They're lucky by perspective. They're more attentive, more open, more available to life. They don't need proof. They're already living the consequences of their mindset. Richard Wiseman's research proved it. People who believe they're lucky see what others can't. Not because they have a gift, but because their minds aren't cluttered with limits. They recognize opportunities because they're not desperate to find them. They see them precisely because they're not afraid they won't appear. And that changes everything. There's also an energetic component. Your thoughts are not neutral. Each one emits a frequency, a vibration that ripples through everything around you. This isn't mysticism, it's physics. Everything in the universe vibrates, and similar vibrations attract each other. If you live in victim mode, if you define yourself by what you lack, it's natural that you keep attracting situations that confirm that scarcity. That's not bad luck. It's vibrational coherence. But if you reprogram yourself to act from certainty, abundance, and trust, everything begins to align. Not because you force it, but because you stop blocking it. Life responds to the frequency you operate from. It doesn't matter what you pretend. The universe doesn't hear your words. It hears your vibration, and your vibration doesn't shift with empty promises, but with habits that support a new way of being, visualizing, expressing gratitude, affirming yourself in the mirror. These aren't naive acts if done consciously. They're anchors, reminders, switches that reprogram the system that kept you repeating cycles of scarcity for years. Each act is a message to the universe, but more importantly, a message to your subconscious. I'm no longer the same. I choose something different now. It's not magic. It's a spiritual strategy. It's emotional training. It's reconfiguring from within what once seemed unchangeable. That's why people who understand this don't depend on luck. They create it. They don't wait for external signs. They've already decided to vibrate from a place where the improbable becomes normal. They've turned synchronicity into a way of life, not because the universe favors them, but because they've stopped sabotaging their access to what's always been available. As your frequency changes, so does the type of opportunities that come your way. Not all of them will be obvious. Some will arrive disguised as chaos. Others will appear as uncomfortable choices. Luck often hides itself. It only reveals to those ready to see. That's why you need inner clarity. Not to predict the future, but to act when the door opens. The ritual itself isn't the point. What matters is the energy you awaken through it. Candles, herbs, symbols. They're tools, not guarantees. Their power lies not in the object, but in the conscious act of declaring a new order. When you burn a limiting belief, you're not playing with fire. You're breaking a mental contract. You're saying, "This no longer defines my path." And that decision vibrates. It expands. It ripples. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you sustain in your everyday vibration. That's why most people fail. They try to change their reality without changing their identity. They want luck without rewriting the inner script that sabotages every attempt. But those who understand this stop focusing on the external and begin rewriting from within. And that's when everything changes. Good fortune isn't chance. It's the echo of a mind trained to see beyond the obvious. It's the result of energy aligned with possibility. When you tune into it, the improbable stops being rare and becomes routine. Luck is no longer something you wait for. It's something you radiate. Now you know. Luck isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. Start today. Act with intention, with coherence, with certainty. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, leave a like and comment if this message resonated with you, and I'll see you in the next video.